Hi, Junior with today's thought. As I'm sure you all know, there are three issues between the Congress and the president right now. Aid for Ukraine, aid for Israel, and the one that Biden does not want to talk about, that Democrats do not want to discuss or change anything, immigration or unlawful immigration, unlawful invasion by unlawful aliens. They don't want to talk about that. The Republicans in the House, the Republicans control the House, so they are, well, the Republicans in the Senate too. The Republicans in the Senate are refusing to vote for any bill that does not, well, put it another way, this is the House and the Senate, they will vote for Israel aid right away as a separate issue. They would vote for aid to Israel, military aid to Israel. They're willing to vote for that, but not if it's linked to anything else, such as aid to Ukraine. They won't vote for that. Standalone, they will. Now, Ukraine is something else. They will not vote for Ukraine aid unless something is first done about the border. So there has to be, or concurrently, the bill has to contain any aid for Ukraine, any such bill has to contain substantive, effective control of the border, measures to do that. And my understanding is that they would separate the two, aid for Ukraine and dealing with the border, but the border would have to be dealt first, which to me means legislation enacted, passed by the House, passed by Congress, signed into law by Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden has been, as usual, the Democrats, not just the president, but as usual, lambasting the Republicans, say they're evil and they're willing to let zillions of all Ukrainians die, so on and so forth. And the Republicans are saying we're willing to vote for it. You just have to deal with the border first. They're saying very sensibly, why should we help? We're not going to help Ukraine defend Ukraine's border, which is what that war is about. Russia coming in and annexing Crimea and some other parts of Ukraine, and so dealing with the Ukrainian border before we deal with the United States border. So very sensible. They have the American people on their side, certainly this American person, and they're sticking to their guns. And it looks like the Republicans will. And the Joe Biden has finally said, well, the usual ploy that he started out with, I'm willing to discuss the issue, but he's willing to discuss the issue after the Ukraine aid is passed. In other words, you pass this, and then I'm willing to talk about dealing with the border. And Republicans are saying, no, we're not going to just talk about it. We want legislation enacted into law, either at the concurrent with Ukraine aid, or before, in a separate bill, but before Ukraine aid. And that's what they should say, the same thing. You pass serious border control, and then we're willing to talk about Ukraine. And then they can, in other words, turning the tables, doing the same thing. But it looks like, I believe that Biden has agreed to meet with Republicans now and to discuss, and what should, to discuss fixing the immigration. And as usual, from the indications to me, they're going to say, well, we're willing to tinker around border security, but we want to deal with ways to process faster the people, the 10 to 11 million he's already let into the country, and guaranteeing basically that they'll be able to stay and have a path to citizenship, yada, yada, yada. Republicans should stand firm against all that. That it should only be border security, and which means physically preventing people coming into the border. Now, there is a compromise there that if Joe Biden says wants to be able to process asylum claimers faster to adjudicate their claims, well, that's very simple. The Republicans should agree to that, but the claims have to be adjudicated in Mexico. In other words, restoring the Remain in Mexico policy, which Democrats do not want to do, but they should insist on that. But I would make it very simple. If I were one of the negotiators, I would say, when you came into office, President Biden, the border was secure. The Trump administration had policies in place that were working, that were effective, and you revoked all those policies with an executive order, and you replaced those policies with your own policies that don't work. And be very clear, they don't work because you don't want them to work. You want to import into the country unlawful aliens who will become citizens, and you assume. Because these are mostly from Latin America and third world. In other words, people of color and people from third world countries that they assume or at least hope will vote for Democrats to replace. Now they talk about a replacement theory, and it's not an idea. It's not the physical replacement of Americans. Well, let's be frank, white Americans with these third world people and people of color from other countries. It's not to replace them, it's to offset them, to what you would call political replacement. In other words, they are losing voters. Voters are leaving the Democratic Party, and they, including minorities, including blacks and Latinos, Americans are leaving, so they have to replace those votes that they are losing. And their hope or their plan is their strategy is to import people from other countries, third world countries, to come into the United States and get citizenship and then vote for Democrats to replace not the people, but the votes, to replace the votes that shifted to the Republicans. That's clearly what they want to do, and the Democrats are going to fight tooth and nail against doing that. What the Republicans should do should make it very, very simple. This is what we want. We want you to revoke, to sign an executive order revoking every executive order that you sign regarding immigration, number one. And number two, another executive order, or one or more, however, whatever is necessary, restoring every single one of the Trump policies, and that's it, and nothing else. Finish the wall, remain in Mexico, and I would also throw in E-Verify and require E-Verify, which is requiring employers, to verify, to creating an electronic database of people who are legal workers. To verify the citizenship of people who apply for jobs. The Democrats don't want that either, and Republicans should insist on it, because they have right now the upper hand, because there is something, this Ukraine aid, that is something that, well, Republicans too, but that Democrats want very, very much. And then there's the Israel aid, which the House has already submitted a separate bill for Israel aid, and the Democrats are going to really suffer. They're going to lose more Jewish voters if they don't pass that. And the House has already sent a bill. It's just sitting in the Senate right now. Senate is refusing to act on it. But I would just, the point is that there is a lot of pressure on the Democrats for a change, because they always try to blame, whenever there's budget negotiations, they always shift the blame to the Republicans, which is really amazing to me. If one party is not controlling both houses of Congress and the White House, the press always goes along with the Democrats, and they blame the Republicans for any impasse. So if you have a Democratic president and you have a Republican House or Senate or both, they blame the Republicans in Congress. If it's the other way around and you have a Democratic Congress, a Democrat-controlled Congress, either House or both, and you have a Republican president, then they blame the Republican president. They always, but this time it's not working. This is something that that the Democrats want very much, the Ukraine aid, and they and the Israel aid too. Two things they want very much to pass, that they very much need to pass, and for a change, because attacking the Republicans, they're already doing that, and it's not working this time. So the Republicans really have a strong position. They have the upper hand. They should stick to their guns, and they get everything they want. And, they're saying, well, everybody doesn't get everything they want. Well, this is going to be one time where Republicans get everything they want. That's what they say. Or they say, okay, well, yeah, nobody gets everything you want. You want Ukraine aid. We want an Israel aid. We want the border secured. So you get what you want. You get whatever amount that you want for Ukraine aid. You get the whole amount. Whatever you want for Israel aid, you get the whole amount. So you get everything you want there, and then we want everything we want in, for immigration, for unlawful aliens invading our country. For instance, we want all the money necessary to finish the wall. We want the construction to begin immedately, and. And the other thing I would insist, you have to remember the Israel aid now, that's paid for. They're taking the money from that. Remember, the Democrats, they passed a bill, money to billions of dollars, I forget how much, to hire 80,000 additional IRS agents, supposedly to go 80,000 IRS agents to go after 1,000 billionaires. And so we know that's not true. It's to go after everybody. That's already been proven. It's already been, that's a separate vlog. So they're taking the money, the Israel aid is coming out of that money. So you're going to have to hire, 70,000 instead of 80,000, whatever the heck it is. And that's paid for. The Ukraine is not paid for. So that would be another thing if the Republicans should insist on. It's got to be paid for by taking money from something else, and that something else cannot be the military, because we have Taiwan, China, we have to deal with, and we can't. We already don't spend enough on defense, so that's off the table. And then you're going to have to, I would say, cancel all the money for hiring 80,000 IRS agents to harass all of us. So that's my thought for today. Thanks for stopping by. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. And most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.